It's the Slam Dunk.
Now, they say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but it's not quite true, is it? For many Kiwi kids, a free hot lunch is provided in schools. A lot of fuss about this at the moment. It used to cost $8 per lunch under Labour, and you got this sort of thing. Very nice, isn't it? Look at that. Very nice. Private providers like Eat My Lunch went even further, and suddenly kids were almost fine dining. Smoked chicken salad amongst many other options. And that's the Eat My Lunch one right there. But ex-David Seymour said no way. The government had to cut costs, too flash, too expensive, and he could do it cheaper. So Labour's smorgasbord went out the window. Kids no longer were lining up at the taxpayers' buffet. They were basically cut from that. Goodbye. And the knife was used was there, but only to cut costs. Taxpayers saved $130 million, and kids got a new fare, which they claim isn't fair at all. It's only day 4, so the new providers might be having some teething issues. Certainly look like they are. Certainly there's been a bit of stuff to digest here, but stuff-ups occur in all businesses, don't they, when we try something new? Come on, be fair. We all make mistakes. We all have issues with startups and new rollouts and everything. Just be fair. But Seymour is having to front up and face the music for this because some lunches haven't even turned up, but I just don't pay for them. Today, the oven isn't working, apparently. Maybe we haven't paid the power bill. Or is this just the revenge from the cook who doesn't like the bad press? Some have turned up late. Some were deemed so inedible, and the parents were, my Johnny can't eat this. The headmaster bought the kids pizza. I guess personal responsibility went out the window years ago, right? Heavens, in our day, if you didn't make your own lunch, you ate nothing, or you pinched your mate's one. It was a Sammy, an apple, raisins, I think it was. Maybe a biscuit or muesli bar. And we stuffed that down our gobs and raced to the concrete netball courts where we played a game of smash and bull rush. It's a different time, wasn't it? We certainly never feasted on pizza or wraps. Certainly there was no butter chicken, beef korma, chicken salad, croissants and salmon, mince and mash or nachos. We never had that. We barely had heating. We rode our bikes without helmets. My son's made his lunch since year 3. I know, sounds like a sort of North Korean prison camp. But if he doesn't eat. It's his mum's rules, not mine. I'm going to be upfront about that. But it's taught him responsibility, or it's taught him hunger. Again, I reckon it was slightly tough, but he's still alive. But these new school lunches have become all too much for Kiwi kids to swallow. In fact, some won't even put it anywhere near their mouths. They're so fussy. Oh, mummy, yuck! Is it wrong to say this? Is it wrong to say, I don't know if you can do this anymore, but for goodness sake, harden up, son, it won't kill you. We wouldn't leave the table without eating our peas, which we hated, but there's no way around it. But the good news is taxpayers are $130 million better off. Average food, no phones in the schools, reading, writing en masse. National would be desperate never to allow young people to vote, just in case they head to the polls and kick them out. Or would they be too busy on their devices at home? Yeah, probably. Truth is, the change has been made. The kids, well, they're just going to have to hoover it up and deal with it, aren't they, I suppose? It might get better. It can't get much worse, I suppose. And it's a case of what you get is what you pay for, isn't it? But I dialed up the New Zealand prison menu just to see how hard done by our Kiwi kids. Here's the New Zealand prison menu. Check it out. All sorts of options. There's roast chicken. There's roast beef. There's even a muffin for supper. All sorts of things. It's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to prison for it. I don't think, Isaac, you'd be putting your hand up for that either. But I mean, if you're there, you're going to get fed, aren't you? Lots of options and a muffin for supper. Could prisoners now be eating better than our kids? Can't have that. Let's linger on that. It's not a bad menu. Anyway, I think in truth the kids are now eating similar food to what's in the prisons and what's in our hospitals. That's what these big places do. They've got one kitchen and they send it off to 25 different locations around the country. It's not overly appetising, I know, but that's mass cooking. Have we simply pampered today's kids far too much? Too much cotton wool, too many soft landings? We probably have, haven't we? Have our kids just gone soft? And are they aided and abetted by parents over-parenting them and throwing their hands in the air? And then the principals rush off, they're all weak at the knees and say, let's get Domino's, it's on me. We never had free food at school. At Northcote Intermediate, in the hood of the North Shore, I went to school with a whole pile of kids who never had lunch. They would find, beg or steal $2 a day, which meant they could jump the fence and head to the takeaways. In those days, $2 got them this: scuba chips. That was $1. Sausage, 50 cents. 2 potato fritters, 30 cents each. Well, that comes to $2.10. The local store always threw in an extra potato fritter and took off the 10 cents. At the time, we thought these kids were rich. Little did we know they were the poorest there. But then I worked it out. These kids had nothing. In fact, we all had not much, but we all survived. I guess no one wants to hear that these days. We're probably all too well catered for and too well fed. And in New Zealand, still we don't really know how lucky we are. In truth, I got mixed views on this one. On one hand, yep, it's embarrassing for Seymour. The hiccups aren't helpful, and the food looks pretty average. On the other hand, taxpayers are demanding better value for money and more scrutiny of Labour's previously out-of-control spending and inability to really run the ruler over the costs. I applaud them for that. We're broke, and we can't keep throwing money around. It also raises the question, should we in these tough times be feeding kids who come from families that can and do feed themselves? I guess we give old people superannuation. Why should young people miss out? Welcome to the New Zealand nirvana, where we think the good times will never end. The other thing is this. It's often said our kids are starving, but we've got one of the highest youth obesity rates in the OECD. Maybe our kids are just too well fed. with the wrong stuff. But I can't leave you without this. It's my plonker. Well, it'll be a plonker of the week, I think. Yes. Here we go. Now, this is my plonker of the week. She's rushed to delete it, but not before we grabbed it. Labour MP Jan Tinetti, in her desperate bid to pile into Labour's into Seymour's lunches, she's made a giant cock-up, and this is hilarious. Actor running this on their Instagram, but in her rush to highlight a shitty, crappy, horrible, inedible and unidentifiable lunch, she forgot to look at the date. Hilariously, she's highlighting a lunch provided under her government Labour when she was the Minister of Education. Enjoy this.
And I think that this is a hamburger. I'm not certain, but I'm thinking that's what it is. This is absolutely disgraceful. Our children deserve better. They were getting better under our government. We were providing a truly healthy and free lunch program that was locally run. We need to bring that back. We need to bring that back.
Oh dear, never mind, damage is done, isn't it? Lesson here is don't cut corners when you're rushing to put the boot in, do your homework, or you may get egg and mince all over your face. Very funny.
Duncan Garner, live.